Hey kids, it's time for another installment of the Manson Brothers Show. And this week, we're not just digging into the vault. We're not just drilling into the vault. We've got a front end loader. We're excavating. We're like literally mining the vault for this movie. This is one that you're definitely going to want to hit subscribe. Go watch the movie first, or maybe watch it afterwards, depending, because I'm going to pretty much guarantee that about 90% of the audience has probably never heard of this movie or never seen it, but it's a great one. This week, we're going to be talking about Psychomania, and we'll be right back. And we're back, Brother Deer. Hey, nice coffee mug. I like that. Way to shamelessly...
That's your Manson Brothers coffee mug.
Shameless swag pimping, I think we call that in the industry. Yes. Hey, man. This week, and again, folks, sorry again, I'm coming to you semi-live from some facility in Los Angeles, California. But they're treating me okay, just okay. I mean, it's not bad.
I hear the bologna sandwiches are good there.
Yeah. So we're back this week for another version of the Manson Brothers Show. This one's going to be pretty kick-ass. Or, as the show's known in the UK, what is it? Two boomers yelling too loud into microphones or something like that? I think that's the name that they're calling it over there.
Two boomers.
But I'm not sure.
By the way, we're Gen X. Just for the record, we're Gen X. We're Gen X.
For sure, right? I mean, come on. I like the X part, too, because it just seems cooler.
Gen X.
Hey, dude, this week we're talking about obscure, and I don't even put this in kind of like the make fun of vault. Like, this is the obscure, cool. Let's just call it what it is. It's groovy, baby. This is like Austin Powers meets Stone Cold, right?
It's him. And in the movie, he even tries to school his mom on the right terminology. She says police. He goes, the correct terminology, mother, is fuzz.
Bag or the fuzz, mate. Yeah, I mean, this one's awesome.
The correct terminology is busted, mother.
It's Psychomania. It's also known by the title Death Wheelers, I think, in some parts of the world.
Yeah.
And just for the record, Psychomania has absolutely no meaning, does not have anything to do with the actual film.
All I know is I couldn't read it when we were kids and Mom couldn't pronounce it. So
yeah, exactly. And I remember this one from when we were kids. And on the rewatch, totally awesome. 1973. This thing's got it's like Austin Powers meets the Mod Squad. Like I said, meets Stone Cold.
Yeah, it was trying really hard to pick up on this American outlaw biker vibe that was going on over here, but it kind of misses the mark by a lot.
Well, part of the reason for that is that the lead biker, the head of the biker gang, also just so happens to have a butler and lives in a 4,500 square foot house. So he's not exactly edgy.
He's in a mansion. Yeah, right. He lives in a mansion. He's rich. But I'll tell you what. So this movie was. There's a little background on the movie. The movie came out in 1973.
Yep. So
at that time, it has a very distinctive rock soundtrack that you didn't hear at that time. So this was actually kind of groundbreaking. I mean, I'm sure it was around here and there, but it was the first one that I heard. And on the rewatch, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. Because about that time, the fifth Led Zeppelin album was coming out, Houses of the Holy.
Yep.
You got the lead guy who looks suspiciously like John Paul Jones, the bass player. So they were trying to capture this whole thing in time. He's like a combo
of John. If you look at his outfit really closely, what other two guys' outfits in a movie does it really look a lot like? The Manson brothers. His outfit in this movie looks almost exactly like
of course. I mean, they couldn't have copied it from us, but I mean,
no, of course not.
But it is a coincidence, right?
The leather jacket and the tight leather pants and the boots, man. It's so awesome.
So the synopsis, it's cool, and so it's got this rock soundtrack. And at the beginning, it's got this eerie opening where the biker gang called the Living Dead,
which, by the way, very Shakespearean. Right. I mean, that's kind of like foreshadowing at its finest.
A little giveaway. They're driving their motorcycles around these what they're called, the Stonehenge, like the triptychs, which there's there's all kinds of those all over Great Britain.
That's the funny thing. Yeah, totally like Stonehenge, right? And it was like the Seven Witches or something was the name
Seven
of the thing?
Witches. Yeah, and it's a real place. It's a real place.
Right.
And so that sets the thing that this is an occult movie. So another thing going back to the early 70s was this was part of this cycle of movies that dealt with folk horror. Right, witchcraft and satanic stuff, occultism, huge back in the late '60s, early '70s was absolutely like the in thing, right?
Do you consider what this was Satanism? I mean, are we to assume that the guy with the frog ring is actually the devil and there's a deal being signed?
Yeah, he's either the devil or he's a minion, one or the other. So the way I got it is, so the mother of the lead character is like
Tommy.
She's a medium, right? Yeah, Tommy. She's a medium.
But
she's
what?
involved.
You said she's a medium?
Yeah, she's a medium. She could be a large. I don't know.
She looked like a large to me. That movie.
She looked like an. She could have been. She's pushing XL. But I'm just saying.
Well, you just totally stole a bit for me right there. By the way, come on, man. You got to work with me here.
Whether she's Lane Bryant material or not is irrelevant. What is important is that she's very much into the occult. She's into seances and all that. And so while they're at the graveyard, the bikers find this, is it a frog or a toad?
Johnny finds the bullfrog. Yeah, but apparently it's very rare. And so they kind of know that it's whatever the bullfrog means.
It foreshadows something's going to happen, right? They only find it in the graveyard. Only special people can find it, whatever. Yeah. So the butler, but when they go back, the mother goes to the graveyard with the kid when he's an infant, and you see her doing something at these triptychs and conjures this demon who we learn later is George Saunders Shadwell the butler.
Yes.
George Saunders, very famous actor from the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and at that point in his career was terribly suffering from dementia, and this was one of his last films, and he actually passed away that same year.
He committed suicide. I was doing my research, and part of his reasoning to somebody was this movie, which is horrifying, by the way. But apparently he was in very poor health, too.
But yeah, at one point he couldn't play his grand piano anymore, and he literally, because he was a big man, literally pushed the grand piano out of his rec room or whatever, and chopped the shit out of it with an axe, like destroyed it.
He's actually super good in this movie.
He's good in anything.
He gives off the creepy butler vibe, right?
Man, he's good in it. He's in Samson and Delilah, and there was all kinds of those big movies at the time. He was a big actor, and he was a really good actor.
How badass is the mom's house, by the way, when you go in there and she's got
it's so 70s.
It's all Austin Powers, man. It's so badass.
If you were a little kid in the 70s or the early 70s like we were, this is going to bring you right back to this shitty decor. Right. You know? Or of movies of that time that were so like, I mean, a lot of movies that were made in the 70s, you don't see this stuff because they went out of their way so it wouldn't look timely. But these cheaper films, oh my God, you're like, it was the 70s, as cool of a decade as it was for like music and film, was a horrible decade for like fashion and like decor.
Are you kidding me? The fashions are awesome in this. When they're rip-roaring through the little marketplace and the moms are all in their little mod outfits pushing the kids around.
Yeah.
Oh, those are great.
Reminds me of remember all Mom's hot friends that would come when we were little
kids? With the white boots and the short skirts? Man.
Dude, Mom had hot friends. I don't know what happened to them, but they were hot. Even when we were little kids, they were hot.
I'd hop in one of those prams now and let them push.
All I know is mom kept Dad out of the room when she sent Pa away whenever friends came over because he couldn't keep his hands
when the knitting circle came over.
The knitting circle, yeah. Pop had to go do some other knitting. Anyway, getting back to the movie. So this demon, she makes a pact with this demon. We don't know what that pact is, but when it comes to the lead guy, now he's 18 or 19, I guess we were supposed to assume. He figures out that there's a secret to coming back from the dead. He cons his mother into telling him what the secret is. He's got to go into that.
She lets him in the room where his
secret little room where his dad went in, but his dad didn't make it back because in order to make it back, you have to truly believe that you're going to come back. If you have any doubts,
great actor. You have to fully commit.
You have to fully commit. Where's Ralston when you need him?
Yeah, exactly.
Tell us about this stuff. Anyway, yeah, you got to fully commit or you don't. So he didn't come back. So Tom, played by Nikki Hansen, who unfortunately left us several years back. But if you get the Blu-ray of Psychomania, there's all kinds of great stuff on that. Interviews with all the lead characters who were still alive at the time. Obviously not George Saunders or Beryl Reid, who played his mom, who was another great actor. This was a cool movie because all these actors that are in this film in Britain were huge actors.
Yeah,
and
they were
at the
big
time,
actors, right?
They were big actors, but they're older now and they're sort of reduced to doing these, you know, B horror films. But it's really a good film. I mean, in the realms of horror movies, it may be low budget. It's got a great concept. So what this guy does, he kills himself, right? And what's great, did you find this as funny as I did? They go to bury him. So Tom, the lead character, he dies. And so they go to bury him, and they want to. First of all, the mother just lets the friends bury him, right?
By the way, how terrible was the folk song they're playing?
Oh, I was just going to mention that. Again, going back to the early 70s at this period where folk music was really huge, especially in Britain, when you had bands like
Arlo Guthrie was rolling over in his grave.
Father and Gay and who was the man?
Okay, so hold on. The worst
Sandy
part
Denny, right?
About this funeral and burial, right, is the fact that the whole time you see him, he's only like shoulder deep.
Yeah, they put him in a hole on his motorcycle, right? But his head is sticking a full foot outside of where.
Yes, no, I did notice that.
Go. Yeah. And this guy is going on singing his folk song about how great it was he killed himself and he really stuck it to the man. And it's worth it just to see that. I mean, it is hilarious.
100%.
So then a few days later, he rockets out of the.
Now listen, this is where I have to jump in real quick.
Okay.
Because one of the greatest bands of all time, Motorhead, in their video "Killed by Death," Lemmy does the exact same Lazarus moment.
Yeah,
on a motorcycle where he comes ripping out of the grave, just like Tommy does.
Right?
It's the exact same thing. It has to be an homage. Obviously we can't find out.
This was a big movie when it came out, especially in Britain. It was a really big. It's a cult movie, and it has been for years.
And that's actually a pretty cool moment when he rips out of the thing.
Yeah, it's really
around.
Cool. The thing, it's got a really cool way they shot it. That's
one of the interesting things, dude. I'm glad you brought that up because what I found about this, and I remember it as a kid, it was really low lighting and it had this just eerie, like it's not an eerie, scary movie. It's almost in a way kind of lighthearted.
It's sort of creepy though, and it's got a creepy undertone.
It's kitschy, but the way they shot it gives it this creepy backdrop that just it feels kind of ominous the whole time, right?
Yeah, and there's not an overuse of music or anything like that to take away from the. I mean, it was really well done. They did it in a kind of a verite style. Yeah, it's all this hard rock, if you will, Zeppelin-ish sounding guitar chorded rock that you didn't really hear back then in movie soundtracks.
So Tommy shows back up, right, and now Jane is the leader of the Living Dead, and Jane's pretty badass. And
and hot, might we add.
Oh yeah. But they lead you to believe with some commentary from the mom at the end that Jane is actually the one who is the one to worry about. Like, and she even says, don't let her
don't tell the parents not to go near her and all that. Yeah. You know, so something happens to them when they come back from the dead that makes them, as you would expect, void of morals or conscience, right?
But the minute she sees that he's come back from the dead, he's like, let's give it a whirl. And she's like, I'm in.
I'm in. Like, so her and another guy ride into traffic and they get killed by a truck. But only she comes back. The other guy doesn't because he hesitated. He had that
giving new meaning to the term. He who hesitates is lost. Yes.
Right. So he don't come back. So it's just her. But then the rest of them commit suicide, which when we were kids and saw it, I remember that it was so weird to me. Go ahead.
This is one of, in my estimation, the best sequences of the film. Is the different ways.
Which one you're going to say. Yeah, it is.
With the guy in his speedo?
What's your favorite? Is that your favorite one?
Oh my God! Come on, he's dragging the weights.
My favorite.
But wait, here's the best part of that scene. They come back to him, and he's in the water, right? And there's these two little 4-year-olds by themselves, like fishing.
yeah.
No parents,
Yeah.
nothing, you know. And they're like, "Oh, hey, look at this."
Yeah, right. They don't care. But my favorite one was the guy, he goes up in the building, he parks his bike in a no parking zone, and he goes up in the building and he yells down, the cop's going to write him a ticket. He yells out, "Hey, that's my bike." And the cop goes, "Well, come down here." He goes, "All right." And he jumps out of the window. Well, what was cool is it's not a dummy. The guy jumps out of the window. So it's a stunt man doing a fall. And it's a cool fall. You don't see him hit because, they're going to be an airbag. But it was a really cool fall. You don't expect to see it, and it makes it that much more effective, in my opinion. Because I remembered it even from being a little kid and watching it.
I remember as a little kid. The one I remember from as a little kid was the guy going off of the overpass.
Yeah, that gets hit by
that
the truck.
One. Yeah.
That guy, by the way, I believe his name is Denny Gilmore, the redheaded guy, and he was in like a lot of folk horror movies.
Didn't he play for the Blackhawks?
No, it was a different guy.
Oh.
He was in Blood on Satan's Claw and some of these other.
Of course he was.
Films.
Yes, absolutely. He had to be. So now Gabby is the only one who decides not to.
Abby.
Is it Abby? Yeah, Abby.
Abby.
Yes.
Yeah, Abby. Yeah, she doesn't want to really. She does it first, but then after she sees what's going on, well, she does actually take the barbiturates or whatever. She takes a bunch of pills, but they find her and they're able to revive her before she dies. And after that, she doesn't want to. So the cops con her into playing dead to lure the gang to the morgue.
Yes, right.
To get her, right? And they do. Only all the cops get killed, of course, by the biker guys. Only to find out that reveals she's alive. She's not.
Yes, right.
She's not dead.
And she's trying to play dead, but she's playing possum.
Right, because there's a scene where they're driving and Nicky Henson,
I've always wanted to go through a brick wall.
Right, he always wants to drive through a brick wall with a motorcycle. So she's going to drive through one, she's going to drive through another. And I remember as a kid, too, I was like, holy crap, he drove that motorcycle through that brick wall. I mean, not understanding about, movie magic and all that shit. Well, she does it, and he goes, "What happened?" He's all mad. "What happened?" She's like, "My back tire skidded." And he's like,
out.
"Yeah, okay, whatever." So, but what was your favorite part in the movie?
Oh my gosh, this movie has so
we already
many
said
quality.
the sequences.
I think one of the things that I really enjoy is the fact that these are all blue blood, kids.
Yeah, they're
that just so happen
like
to be in a hellish
class
biker
or rich kids, right?
Right. Like
what are you rebelling against?
Yes, exactly. There's nothing to rebel against. It's just a bit of fun, right? To go.
Although you could be like the Marlon Brando in the Wild One, where he was like, "What are you rebelling against, Johnny?" And Brando goes, "What do you got?"
Yeah, right. I think there's so many cool scenes. I love the scene where they're cruising through the it's not a market, but again, the moms are out there. Well, the supermarket one, supermarket one's pretty badass because she runs over the tram.
Yeah, she runs over to kill a baby. It's like
though. I just love the sequences where they all finally decide that they're going to do it, and then they just kind of run through the different ideas.
Yeah, who does what?
There's some that are so hilarious,
I think mine. I think mine is probably when they keep showing cross-cutting with the frog thing, because it made it weird because they were kind of ambiguous as to what the frog did and how it affected.
Well, but now, so I think it's not to give away the ending because I don't want to totally give it away, but the mom eventually becomes the frog, which leads me to believe, because she's effectively said that she's going to go back on her pact, right?
Right.
So are we to assume that the original frog had done the same thing?
Is the husband? No, I think the original frog is the husband.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
She becomes a frog.
She becomes the frog, and then the last shot is Shadwell, the demon or the devil, pulling up to the triptychs, to Seven Witches, taking the frog back out to put it out there. So and they all turn into.
If this sounds as nuts,
watch the movie, you'll see.
Yeah, right.
And I love the ending. And I love the ending. The ending is really cool.
And it's a little bit of a swerve.
And in fact, it's so cool. I'm not really going to tell you what it is. I mean, they'll probably watch it and be like, Skull, this is what you were talking about. This is what was cool. But it was cool to me because it was different. You have to remember, like, I was a little kid when I saw it. So it made impression on me. And it didn't have an ending that I had seen before.
Right.
So
no.
you know,
It's,
so
and again, it's a little bit of a Shakespearean. There's a little twist to it. You know,
it's very Shakespearean. Great perform. The acting's all good. All the people are believable. It's just a really well done film, and in my opinion, it doesn't get enough credit. Things,
right? When you look at it on the surface, you think, "Oh my God, man, what is this thing going to be?"
Yeah,
and then of course you've got bullfrogs and rich bikers and all kinds of shit.
But it didn't kill it. It made it more interesting. And if they would have given you more exposition on what the frog did or was, it kind of would have ruined it.
Yeah.
I think the way they approach it.
Viewer email.
Oh, yes.
All right. This one comes to us.
Good, because my computer's going to die. Go ahead.
Liam is in Liverpool. Wow. So we got a UK person right here. And
Love
he wants
UK.
to know, guys.
Can't wait to go there.
Everybody in the UK knows the influence on American rock and roll from the British invasion. What were your favorite bands from the British invasion?
Oh, I got 3. Led Zeppelin, and Led Zeppelin.
Were they considered British invasion, though?
I don't think so. I think British invasion was probably earlier than that. I think British invasion was probably Stones, The Who.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think
Herman's Hermits.
Yeah, because
those kind of bands.
I mean, obviously we all know kind of Sabbath invented heavy metal, right? And Iron Maiden was right there at the same time. These guys were kind of a hybrid between punk and metal. You know, everybody had kind of their own sound. I think what's interesting is a lot of, you know, I can never remember the fourth guy, but Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page, and Jeff Beck, and a fourth dude all grew up within 2 blocks of each other.
Oh, Jimmy Page,
who was
Brian May.
Was it Brian May? Was he in that same age group? I mean, think about
yeah,
that.
Because
when they
all when they had the thing with the Queen, it was Jimmy Page, Clapton, Beck, and Brian May. So I bet it was. I'd be willing to bet it was Brian May.
That's 4 pretty top-notch
Richards
guitar players to grow up within 2 blocks of each other at the exact same time.
Right.
Imagine having your high school have those 4 guys.
Amazing.
Who plays lead in the high school band then? I mean, how do you pick it?
You pick the best, Jimmy Page.
You go with the Iron Maiden thing and you do 3 leads.
Yeah, you're right. You do 3 leads. So, Eric Clapton couldn't keep up, but whatever.
So British invasion, because I don't count Led Zeppelin in that, I actually am a really big fan of the Who. I just think that their sound was a little bit different than everybody else, and they had 100%. Musicians.
Yeah, it was very different, and I would definitely classify it as pop. You know, it was one of the bands that came out where it sounded different what everybody else was doing. So you had your Herman's Hermits, and you had your kind of softer stuff like that, and then the Stones, in my opinion, who are overrated. But whatever. But when the Who came out,
I love
the Who. Like, I don't dislike them. I'm just saying I think, you know, they're overrated. But whatever. But the Who, they broke ground. I mean, they were a groundbreaking band, and they were really good. So I'll have to put. So if we're going back pre-Zeppelin, I would have to say either the Who, and I don't know if we can count Cream in there. Can we count Cream?
I don't know. Cream was pretty awesome.
The Yardbirds, the Yardbirds, featuring Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, and Eric Clapton, all played in the Yardbirds, right? So there you go. So yeah, I would have to say. So if we have to put it in there, I would say the Yardbirds or the Who.
Okay. But we would also agree that Led Zeppelin is the greatest band of all time.
Yeah, that's hands down. Yeah, it's hands down.
Liam,
folks, let us know. Comment, like, subscribe, and comment. Tell us who's your favorite British band from that time period, late 60s, early 70s. Let us know.
And do yourself a favor and see this movie in conjunction with that, because this is a great British.
It's
whatever you want to call it.
It's awesome. If you love early 70s, you like early 70s stuff. This is a great movie. It's a really fun film. It's
that's the thing. It's fun. It's entertaining.
It's not. The violence is more suggested than it is visual, right?
Yeah, there's no blood in the whole movie.
No, but it's just fun. It's got a great story.
I hate to say that, but.
I mean, I don't think so. I think you got to give credit to the fans. I think fans are more intellectual than that. I think, did I say that right? Did I pronounce that correctly?
I think you did, actually. So we're going to chalk that up to our miracle for this week.
No, it's a good movie, folks. Go watch it. Tell us what you think. Leave us a comment.
And guys, hey, I speaking of comments, by the way, I want to say thank you to everybody who's been commenting. We get so many great commenters, and I will literally make a list in the
even if you have a criticism, that's fine. You could tell us. We're big. We can handle it.
We get
okay.
criticized from time to time.
Yeah, we're good. We're
we
cool
spent
with
many
it.
years as the most hated people in wrestling, so we have thick skin. We can absolutely handle it.
Trust us, we can handle it. We can handle it. But we love it. We love you guys and appreciate it.
Come on, we pay the bills, all right?
You can go to MansonBrothers.com, get yourself one of these nice Manson Brothers mugs. We have pictures that my brother and I will sign. We have t-shirts. We do not have any more Blu-rays or DVDs. They are all sold out, but you can get them at Amazon.com.
There you go. All right. Anything else? Any final notes on Psychomania other than to go watch it as soon as you can?
Nah, just watch it. It's a cool movie. It'd be a good double feature with Blood on Satan's Claw or one of those other early 70s folk horror things.
Yeah, it's a groovy good time, baby. I think everybody will like it. So, hey, on that note, it's time to take it home. Until next week, we'll be back with a little more action. Maybe not. Maybe less action, but it'll still be fun and entertaining. And we'll have another great movie to cover. Can't wait to see you here. Again, subscribe. Check out all the shows on the Arrow on the Head Network. And thank you so much for all the comments.
And don't forget Wednesday nights at Clem's, where you have 40% more banana titties.
There you go. And on that note, till next week, we're out of here, kids. Don't forget to put those
See you later,
shopping carts
shitty
away.
pants.